Hi, this is Pamela Gropey Art, and today we are going to paint this red rose. Here I have been practicing on red roses. I practiced them on this brown paper so I didn't have to undercoat, and now we're going to do it. Ignore my pink roses, that's another practice. We're going to do it on a small canvas board, and you see here I have undercoated, and that's because reds are not very opaque and it wouldn't have had the depth of color I wanted. So I went in, I tried burgundy wine as a backdrop, and that was okay, but I still wanted it more red, so I went back over it with FolkArt Multi-Surface Cardinal Red. I didn't get all the way to the edges because that'll add a little variety in the color. And I have taped on here a pattern thing that I'm going to trace over with some graphite paper, white graphite paper, just because it helps me with the lines. These roses are pretty tricky. This is more of a full front on rose rather than a side view rose, and it'll just help me to have the lines on there to create it. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, focus, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Here's the pattern on transfer paper, and I placed it over the rose, matching the outline, and I will go ahead and outline it again, even though it had the outline. And I'm just going to go around with, and I'm using the white because it'll show up better on the darker red, as well as it doesn't show through the reds like black does. And I'm trying to make sure I'm getting all these lines. All the way around. And I try to put in the little peaks because those give interest when I'm painting on the layers. I don't get them exact, but I do try to get it a little bit. Now let me see how that looks on my piece. Okay, looks great. Now I don't do it exactly like the pattern. I just follow it loosely and get an idea, and each time I do it, it's a little bit different, and you do want that. So I'm going to use a number 12 flat Donna Dewberry one-stroke brush. This is like one of my favorite sizes of flat brushes. Now the center can be a little bit tricky, but because it's a small contained space, and you can come in with a smaller brush to do the very center if you want. I'm looking for my palette paper. Aha! Here it is. Now I'm going to do my typical double loading for this. And my colors are going to be Cardinal Red. These are all Plaid FolkArt Multi-Surface, I do believe. For the darker color, I will use a little bit of real brown, and then this one is Licorice Black. And I'm putting them all over here on the palette. You don't really need to see it. It's hard to get zoomed in here and have my palette in it too, unless you really want to see it there. I guess you could do that. I figured you'd want to see the close-up of the rose painting more than the colors, because you've seen me double load before. And let's see, black, that I do sometimes come in with some of the berry wine. Now as I paint along, I'll tell you what colors I double load on my number 12 flat. I'm going to start out with the Cardinal Red and some of the real brown, and then a tiny touch of the Licorice Black, just to really give it. And when I say a little touch, see how mostly it's red and then the tiny touch of the black? And we're going to go around the center of the rose. Let me get, I have another picture here I can kind of look at. So this is kind of going around here like that. You see just a hint of the black there. If you want more black, you can go ahead, but you can come back in with a smaller brush if you really want to do something dramatic there. Like there's the black. So I swoop this way, and now I'm going to start along this one, and I'm going to follow the outside edge with the red, keeping the black to the inside. That might be a little bit too much black, so I need to go back into the red and get more of that. You see, I'm just going along and layering. I'm doing the black and the red. Sometimes I'm going into the brown instead. Now the brown has a lot of red in it, so it's a good color to shadow with. Now the center, because it goes in and you want the eye to be drawn into the center, then you want it to be a little bit darker. And you may think right now it's too dark, but you can come back and go over that if later, after it's dried and you think it's way too dark, and then put some more red on there. Okay, now I'm putting the brush down on the chisel edge right there where I want to start, and I'm pulling and I'm following the outside edge with my red, and I'm keeping the black edge to the inside so it's shadowing along where it'll lay against another petal. And I'm trying to go in layers and see which layer would be next. See, this one's going over top of this one, and so that, and this one is actually going over top of this one. So I will go with this one next. I'm just laying my brush down, following the outside edge, and then twirling my brush and bringing it up to sink in there with the red. And you also can just come and pull the black in this way. And let me show you what I mean. So I'll start here, go along the red on the outside, and instead of twirling it, I just pull that in there, that edge. I know on the dark it's really hard to see. So I'm showing you that I can do it two different ways and they both work. So if you find one way is too hard, try the other way. Okay, now this one goes over top of this one or underneath, so again I'm following, and this one has a little peak in it. See, I'm going to go up, give it that peak, and then come down. Well, this one can go next. You know, you don't have to go in the order exactly as I do it, just kind of work your way around, because you can kind of sink them down in there. And like, I'm not worried. See, I didn't cover that line completely. When I do this stroke here, I can go over that and not have to go back over it. Or I can re-stroke it so that it covers that little line there. So I'm reloading my brush with the Cardinal, and I did the brown. Paint's getting a little gloppy in my brush, so I'm kind of working it through. So I'm going to do this one, starting on the edge here, and keep the black to the inside, the red to the outside, and pull it around. If I need to restroke it, I do. Now you see here, that's got a kind of a light gap in there. I'm going to go back in with the dark side of my brush and kind of work that in. Okay, this spot right here is just kind of an outside edge, so I'm just going to put that on there. Also for kind of a highlight color, I have some pure orange here on my palette. See it right here? Now I'll work that into a bit of red. Work it into a little bit of red. You'll see right here, I've got to work it in. So that makes it a little bit of a lighter red. And you can kind of come along an outside edge. Add that lighter red. And that gives it a little bit of highlight there. So I've got most of the outside. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outside edges left. So let's do this one. And then this one. This one here. Let me see if I got enough black. I think I got enough black. And I think I have them all. So we'll let this dry. Let me zoom in a little bit. Make sure you're getting it in there so you can see. We'll let it dry and then we'll come back and see if it needs something different. Right now I think it looks good. The center could be a little bit more defined, but in the overall spectrum of things, it looks pretty good. So that is how you do a red rose on a lighter surface. And if it's on a darker surface, you don't usually have to undercoat. And so I hope you enjoyed this video.